Sam Darnold is definitely on the block right now. GM Joe Smith came out and said he will definitely answer calls if people are looking to trade for Sam Darnold. Let's remember that the Jets have the number 2 overall pick currently. Are they looking to get into the Deshaun Watson game? Because originally Deshaun Watson was going to get traded because he did not want to play for the Texans anymore. He was in New York whenever he made those requests. He had a green hat on. Everybody's like, oh my God, Bob Saleh, Joe Smith, Deshaun Watson. What's that mean for Sam Darnold? Then the Deshaun Watson situation took a turn when Jack Easterby and Cal McNair and Cesario and Coach Dave said, we're not answering any phone calls. We're not trading Deshaun. So everybody thought about, okay, what are the Jets going to do then? New coach, same GM, but really getting a chance to build this team for the first time in his vision without having to deal with the previous contracts that the previous GM had for him alongside the previous coach that was there, Adam Gase. Is Sam Darnold the guy? Sam Darnold's still very young. I think he's like 23 years old or something like that, 24 years old, still very young on a rookie contract. People say that study film and talk about quarterbacks that he is an absolutely unbelievable quarterback. So you would think with the number 2 overall pick that the Jets have and a quarterback that people think are very good around the league, that he would offer up incredible trade bait. People would want to make a move for that. And if the Jets are looking to rebuild, especially with that number 2 overall pick, potentially taking your franchise quarterback that you see in your eyes, not a bad play. Get to move on and kind of rewrite the chapter of the Jets with the Sam Darnold era, which, unbeknownst to Sam Darnold, is the Adam Gase era, which was an abysmal failure.
Yeah, so if you think about it, like if you're a team that isn't sold completely on your current quarterback, or if you're a team that's transitioning from a quarterback that you had for a while, and Sam Darnold's owed $9 million next season, like why not take a flyer on him for 1 year just to see if it was maybe...
If you're the Jets?
Or no, another team. Just to see if it was, or I guess
but also
the Jets,
if you're the Jets,
yeah, if you're the Jets, it fits too.
Yeah.
But just because he's not doing a lot of money, and then you find out maybe was it Gase or was it Sam, or like if you're an organization that thinks you can make him better, that you can fix him, like the Colts are trying to do with Wentz, then that's something that you kind of do for him.
Now listen, Sam Darnold being available, by the way, I wonder if Sam Darnold's definitely available and Carson Wentz is definitely available, who would you rather take, okay? For me, Carson Wentz, okay? I've said that since the beginning.
You have.
All right? So with some other quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady, and Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, Deshaun Watson.
Sure.
That's a different conversation. But when we're talking Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, I'm thinking Carson Wentz. But if you're the Jets, why not just 1 year? See what you have. Now you have the number 2 overall pick. You probably aren't going to have that again if Bob Saleh is worth a single fuck at all, right? You're not going to be up there. So that kind of puts a little bit of a wrench in the conversation. We are not going to be here ever again. Like Mike Tomlin said to Chase Young, I ain't ever going to lose enough games to get a guy that looks like you. Yeah, you got to lose a lot of games to get a guy that looks like you. At number 2, you can get a franchise changer. Now, Sam Darnold was supposed to be that years back. It obviously didn't work out. Do you give him just 1 year here under Bob Saleh to see if he's the guy, or do you let him get a fresh start and also you guys get a fresh start? That seems like inevitably what's going to happen.
So if you're the Jets, is it basically like, do you think Sam Darnold is better than Zach Wilson, or if they are comparable, you get Zach Wilson then on that rookie quarterback again instead of having to pay Sam next year if he is?
Well, what about Mac Jones, too? The Jets could trade out of that, too, down to like 7, and there'll probably be somebody else. Like if, for instance, the Chargers last year, we talked to them, they like Burrow, Tua, and Herbert, and they were sitting at 6. And there was a little bit of talk that Washington might do something or something like that in the first couple of picks. But they literally were just like, whatever happens, we're good. I wonder if they have a list of quarterbacks that they've scouted that they're like, okay, we could probably drop down to 9 at the lowest and we'll still be able to get a quarterback that we like, plus some other picks probably if we were to trade that number 2. That's a fascinating situation. They got a lot of chips right now in a game of poker, which the draft is the craziest game of poker. They have a lot of chips right now. They're in a very good position here. They are a dealer. They are waiting and seeing what everything else has. The only people that are better are the Jacksonville Jaguars, I guess, because they have number 1 pick. But the Jets, it just feels inevitably going to turn over the organization and start brand new.
Do you think with him he would even want to? Because even if they do bring him back, it's not like they're going to get a big influx. Like, isn't it? I mean, I guess they'll have some new guys and they have a lot of cap space, but is he really going to show out next year? Like, are the Jets going to be very good next year, or at least good enough to justify, like, okay, Darnold is our guy now?
Oh, yeah, and by the way, what is their probable record? 7-10, 8-9, highest, or 9-8? Are we like probably the highest, right?
I think 7 wins would be a success.
A
for
massive
the Jets.
success.
Yeah.
But if you only win 7 games, are you going to sign him to a massive extension? No. Right?
No.
He's going into his last year of his contract, right? Or they're going to have to pick up the 5th-year extension or whatever, or 5th-year option. So unless you have at least 12 games or 11 wins in this 17-game season that's coming next year, you're not going to extend Sam Darnold. So all you're doing is delaying probably the inevitable, which I'm sure other teams know as well. Like, hey, you have to trade him. The more and more we talk about it, he would have to have a massive year next year for them to offer him a massive extension, which he would be next or whatever. So they're probably going to trade him for sure.
And I was just trying to look up, but I couldn't find it. Like, they could, if he does stay with the Jets and he has a decent year this year, like, do you have to pick up that 5th-year option before this 4th year starts?
If you trade.
Or if you're the Jets keeping him.
If you trade him, I'd assume, because you're not going to sign him long term if you trade for him because you have no idea if he's a guy or not. Mm-hmm. Sam Darnold's in an interesting situation. Still has the hype of potentially being a franchise quarterback, but where he's at, probably not going to be their franchise quarterback because the expectations would be unrealistic for the current team that they have for the New York Jets. So you have to go somewhere else to a team that's already built, that is a pretty good team where he has an actual chance. If he wins 11 games, though, and becomes a Tannehill effect, which happened to the previous Adam Gase quarterback, that would warrant an extension. I think he's playing next year for $9 million. He's going to be a free agent after that. I think that's probably the mindset that Sam Darnold would have to have at this point.